All right, let's talk about a problem that's literally heating up all around us, our cities. We're going to break down why our urban centers are basically turning into giant ovens and explore some of the brilliant, often simple, solutions that can cool them right back down. You know that feeling, right? Where the heat is just radiating off the pavement and the air feels thick and heavy? Well, that's not just in your head. It is a very, very real phenomenon, and it actually has a name. It's called the urban heat island effect. You might hear it called the UHI effect. And it's really the core of the problem we're talking about today. It's this bubble of intense heat that forms right over our cities, making them dangerously warmer than the countryside that might be just a few miles away. And we're not talking about a small difference here. The difference can be absolutely staggering. We're talking up to 10 degrees Celsius or 18 degrees Fahrenheit hotter right in the city center. You can see it so clearly in this kind of gradient. The more concrete and asphalt you have, the more intense that heat becomes. Okay, so how do we actually create these urban ovens? Well, it turns out it's a pretty simple but really dangerous recipe. And it's got 4 key ingredients. So first up, you've got all those dark surfaces. Think asphalt, think concrete, that just soak up the sun's heat all day and then slowly release it all night. Second, you've a lack of trees in parks, which means there's no natural cooling. Third, dark roofs. They act like giant sponges for solar radiation. And finally, all of our cars and our air conditioners are just constantly pumping out waste heat. And look, this is way more than just being uncomfortable and sweaty. Extreme heat is a major public health crisis. It's what experts call a silent killer, and it actually claims more lives every year than many of the big weather disasters that tend to dominate the headlines. And this heat, it doesn't affect everyone equally. The most vulnerable among us are seniors, kids, people who have to work outdoors, and folks in low-income neighborhoods who often have less access to green space or good air conditioning. They bear the greatest risk. But here's the good news, the really hopeful part. We have a blueprint to fight back. We can actually re-engineer our cities to be cooler and safer. And we can do it using both nature and technology. And you know what? It can start with something as ridiculously simple as the color of our roofs. A standard dark roof absorbs up to 90% of the sunlight that hits it, just turning that energy into heat. A cool roof does the exact opposite. It reflects that sunlight right back out into space. And the impact of that simple change is, well, it's massive. A cool roof can be up to 30 degrees Celsius cooler than a traditional dark roof on a sunny day. I mean, that's the difference between an oven and a comfortable surface. And guess what? We can apply that exact same logic to our streets. Dark asphalt soaks up and radiates heat, creating that oven-like feeling we all know. Cool pavement, on the other hand, is a lighter, more reflective surface, and it just bounces that heat away. And hey, this isn't some far-off theory. They're actually doing it. In Los Angeles, they've been running these pilot programs where they coat streets with a reflective sealant called Cool Seal. And the results? They've already lowered surface temperatures by as much as 10 degrees Celsius. It proves this is a practical, scalable solution. Now, let's talk about nature's perfect technology, trees. I mean, just listen to this quote. It says it all. The cooling power of a single large tree is like running 10 air conditioners for almost an entire day. It does that through providing shade and through a process called evapotranspiration. It's incredible. But here's the tough part. Not all neighborhoods get to benefit from that. And this leads to this really stark concept of shade deserts, areas with so few trees that simple activities like walking to a bus stop can become a genuine health risk during a heat wave. So fixing the physical stuff is huge. But beyond that, we also need smarter systems. This is all about using data, communication, and good policy to protect people right now when the heat becomes extreme. And that's where a comprehensive heat action plan comes in. This is the whole package. It means sending out early warnings through text messages and the media, opening public cooling centers so people have a place to get relief, and having targeted outreach programs to check on and support those who are most at risk. And you might be wondering, do these plans actually save lives? Oh yeah, just look at Ahmedabad, India. After they implemented their heat action plan, they saw a stunning 61% reduction in deaths from extreme heat. 61%. This just goes to show how effective coordinated action can be. But maybe the most powerful, game-changing solution for the long term is to simply update our laws. Modern building codes can mandate features like cool roofs, high-quality insulation, and clever designs that encourage natural airflow.
We can essentially bake heat resilience directly into the fabric of our cities from the get-go.
So, it's pretty clear we have the solutions. But that brings us to the final and maybe the most crucial question. How do we implement them fairly? And whose responsibility is it to make our cities cool? And this is where we have to connect the dots between past injustices and the dangers people face today. In many cities, neighborhoods that were historically redlined and denied investment now have far fewer trees and parks, making them significantly hotter today. We're talking 5 to 7 degrees Celsius hotter. This is the very definition of heat inequity. So the responsibility is shared. Everybody has a role to play. Cities have to lead by updating those building codes and investing in public infrastructure. Businesses and architects need to design and build smarter. And citizens have a role too, from planting trees to advocating for these very policies. Ultimately, it all comes down to this. We have the knowledge and the tools to create cooler, safer, more livable cities. A heat-proof future is totally within our grasp. The real question is whether we'll choose to build it in a way that is equitable, protecting everyone, especially those who need it most.